So a story I've told a few times this week. I'm always observing my life and looking at, how that fits into what I'm talking about. Metaphors, stories, etc. And also because I am genuinely fascinated by how my world looks different now compared to what it did. You probably hear me say that a lot. Anyway, I was sat here in the office and I had a bit of on the sofa, and I had a bit of. Looks like I'm wearing hot pants. I'm not, I can assure you, that's shorts. I had a bit of time before my calls. Not a lot, but enough time to get some food. And for whatever reason, I was fancying something, something good. I don't know, relatively unhealthy, but not too unhealthy. Anyway, I go in the cafe, and I'm stood there, and the menu's like stuff I don't want. Because the breakfast menu's over by this point. I'm like, oh. So I walk out, walk to another one, that one's closed, walk to another one, looking at the menu, and the menu's shit. I'm like, oh. I'm looking down the menu. Bacon and wild mushroom. I'm like, that sounds fucking crap. Like, I don't want any of this. And I flip it over, and I'm like, breakfast panini. Like, are you still doing that? And the guy's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what's in it? I don't know why I asked that. But once I'd asked it, I had to kind of give him the space to tell me. Stupid question. It was kind of instinctive. And he's like, yeah, sausage and egg and bacon. And I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So I take a seat and I'm sat there and just looking out the window. Eventually get handed my bag of food. Walk back to the office. It's only like 7-8 minutes away maybe. Nothing crazy. Maybe less than that. But it feels like a ball ache, You get back, you go through the door, go through another door, go up the stairs, have to go through like another few doors kind of thing. I'm basically up in the roof of an old building where no one can find me, like nesting away from the world. I sit down and it's like, yeah, I'm going to watch a bit of TV whilst watching The Boys on Amazon. Pretty cool. I finished it now, but then apparently there's a new series. Because it's a bit like I had 5 calls that day. I need to just switch off and just zone out really, and just enjoy my food and ready for the next calls. And I unwrap my panini. And I bite into it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Bacon and fucking mushroom. The exact fucking panini I didn't want, nor the one I asked for. And I just found myself just really which to some people might be like, wow, big deal. But to me, that's a big deal. Because I'm someone that, you would have explained me as highly strung. That would have really fucking pissed me off. And I could see the thoughts. For fuck's sake, this isn't what I asked for. This isn't what I paid for. How stupid is the fucking bloke to not just give me the panini that I wanted? Now I've got to walk back, but I don't have time to walk back. And now the guy's robbed me of his stupidity, has robbed me of my tiny bit of time that I've got. And that's what the thoughts were kind of doing. But like a distant sound of music, nothing kind of, they were just there, but not really. And in that moment, I just found that really fascinating because old me would have been in that thinking and I would have genuinely felt angry and pissed off. And with every bite, I would have been annoyed. And it would have ruined my lunch. And I'd have been so angry about it. I'm not going back there again. It would have really, I'm going to go back tomorrow and get a refund. And it sounds really silly. But what seems obvious to me in that moment and now is how much we experience the present moment, whatever that is, whether the present moment, well, really, it's meaningless until we give it meaning. We experience the present moment, but then we filter it through our thinking of why it's good or why it's bad, or judging it, or analysing it, or overthinking it. Some people can't even have a conversation without overthinking what they've said. Or they're not even in the conversation because rather than listen, they're listening to reply. Or they're listening, but they're actually thinking about, oh shit, I'm late. Or oh shit, what do I look like? Or oh shit, do I have a spot on my face? Or everyone is experiencing the present moment, which is the only moment we have, by the way. The future doesn't exist yet, and the past is just a memory. We only have the present. But rather than be in the present, rather than be awake and fully alive to the present, we experience the present, but we're so lost in our thinking that we're not in our life. So many people are so in their heads, they're not even living their fucking life. They're living their thought-created version of what they think life is. They're arguing with what is. What I want is a all-day breakfast panini. Yeah, but what you got is bacon, you know. Now you've got a choice. You've got a few choices. You eat it and shut the fuck up. You go back and change it. Or you can just get, you know, you can get really angry about it if you want. I mean, that's their choice. But when you see that they are the choices you have, it starts to no longer make as much sense. Does it really make sense for me to be so angry about this? Does it really make sense for me to rob myself of happiness over something pretty trivial? Does it really make sense for me to... And it goes far beyond the panini. I use trivial examples because they're funny. But does it really make sense for me to allow money to have so much of an experience over me? You know, does it really make sense for me to create all these stories around my head when my investments go down? It's like, oh no, I'm going to lose all my money. That's just a thought. That's one way of making it up. When they go up, yeah, you know, 10 years from now, I'm going to have made this much money, and 25 years from now, it'll be worth this much. You know, it's like we have the present moment. That's all we ever have. But we're constantly jabbering over the top of it with preferences of how it could be better if this, and how I would be better if that, and how it's okay, but it'd be better if this, or this isn't good, or that's bad, or that's really good, but that's not, or this is okay, but this is what I wanted. And it's just really fascinating because the more you get present to life, the more you get present to the moment and out of your thinking, overthinking, analytical thinking, complaining, moaning, worrying, anxiety, whatever, the more you get present to the moment and notice the thoughts and the feelings without getting engulfed in them, not only does the better life feel, but the better our ability to handle life and the better our ability to make choices. Sounds kind of counterproductive, but the less you give a shit about someone getting your order wrong, the better kind of energy you're in to do something with it, where you go, or you go, well, I'll just go back. No one really does well from that flapping. I've not seen anyone perform well or perform their best from a stressed state, from an anxious state, from a flappable state, you know, a flappy state. You might see it in other people. You might see it in staff. You might see it in colleagues. You might see it with your kids. The minute they lose their shit, don't you agree that they do worse? Their perception's warped. Their actions are different. So doesn't it therefore make sense that if we could find a way of being more at peace with what life actually is rather than what we want it to be? You know, oh, it's raining today, I wanted it to be sunny. Well, you know what? You can complain about that, or you can put some wellies on and dance in the rain. It's your choice, ultimately. Like, doesn't it make sense that if we're more at peace with what life actually is, and more at peace with our own thoughts and emotions as well, that's another video for another day, doesn't it make sense that we would be more resourceful and able to make better decisions and choices from a calmer, more grounded state? Now, this may be obvious to you, it may not be, but something to think about. Slightly longer video as well. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll speak to you soon. Have a good one.